What's going on? It's your boy Sermon at Sermon's Domain on Twitter. Skepta is back with his fourth album titled Konnichiwa. And he's riding high off of the success of everything that he's built. In the UK, he's a huge artist, huge name, and then having that Drake cosign really kind of elevated him, especially in the internet era where Drake can, co-sign him on Instagram and all that, and then people are starting to check for him. And he's one of the artists that I feel benefited a lot from a Drake cosign because Drake didn't just like shout him out one time. Like we've seen the two interact a lot, and Drake's brought him up in interviews, and Skepta's talked about them having some records together. So it's very beneficial for Skepta, especially getting over here into the U.S. and breaking into that market because that's something that a lot of UK artists are not doing, at least on the rap side. But getting into the album, here's the reason why I don't do first impression videos. Because I would have trashed this album. When I first listened to it, my very first listen, I was like, this is disappointing. After the intro, I was not feeling it at all. But I kept listening and stuff started to grow on me. I still think the intro might be the best song. The title track, Konnichiwa. He says, how many more MCs do I kill till they realize there's nobody above me? Those are words of a man on a mission. A man that wants to draw you in and make sure that you listen to all 12 tracks. And one thing about the record that I especially like, besides his lyricism, is his energy. And that's like something that I've noticed throughout the whole project. His energy is high for a lot of it. There's a record called It Ain't Safe. And I like to think that Skepta is painting a different picture of the UK. Because when I think of the UK, and part of my ignorance, I don't think of like in America. We have places like, the ghettos and the traps and bad neighborhoods, good neighborhoods, all that. I don't think about that when I think that in regards to the UK. And I know that exists. And that's why I like It Ain't Safe. Because A, the energy is high. The hook is repetitive, and then in the verses he's talking about like the environment that he, his family, his friends, all of them, have experienced, and it gives someone like me in America a different picture of the UK, and that's why I like that record. The other one, and this is the first record that I really listened to from Skepta before the album came out, and that was Man, in parentheses Gay. I think his energy on that is just incredible. Like throughout, the hook blends into the verses, blends back into the hook. It's just one great record. But I don't feel as though this is like an amazing album. It's a pretty decent album. I even go as far as to say it's a good album, but I think there's some things on it that I'm not really too partial to, like Numbers. Numbers is a collaboration with Pharrell, and it was cool to see Pharrell's name on there, so I was like, okay, when we get to this track, let's see if it's good. And I don't know if it's good or bad or just kind of somewhere in the middle. I think Pharrell spits a uninspired hook, but he does kind of make up for it with a verse that's pretty good. And then the beat itself, I don't know, it's one of those beats that you think Pharrell just held on to because nobody else wanted it, and Skepta got a chance at it, and that's probably how the collaboration happened. But I just wasn't a huge fan of the record, so I'm kind of like in between on it. And then like Ladies Hit Squad, he has this line. He says, "We don't really need Netflix. I'm gonna give you something to watch." That's like I just don't care for that line at all. It's one of those like lines that you kind of cringe at, like, really? I don't know. Like I've said in previous videos when I talk about like artists talking about like sex and stuff, it's like some artists you don't care if they mention it, but some artists it's like they come off not as like smooth with it. And I think Skepta's one of those people. But then there's Text Me Back at the end of the album, the last song, where he does kind of show that he can showcase like that more relationship lovey side, and I think that works. He makes it work, and then I like Corn on the Curb. I wasn't a big fan of the interludes at the end of some of the songs, But the record "Corn on the Curb" was good because it shows where Skepta's his head is at in terms of him being like married to the grind, and that's where he's looking at. That's what he wants, and he talks about how he doesn't care about VIP, and he says like when he's asleep, he's making a beat, so he's dreaming about the beat that he's gonna make. And that's another thing about the album that is both good and bad. It's cool that he can produces a lot of the album, but at the same time, I feel as though it kind of limits him, and I think that's an issue that I had with J. Cole in the past. Him producing everything kind of limits him from a whole diverse sound. Like, I would love to see Skepta in the future have more people produce on it, more like outside of the box, more UK people, more American people, whoever. Because a lot of the production, it kind of, I don't know, it kind of feels like it's the same. It's similar in that sense. But amidst my issues, there's only just a few that I had. Overall, it's a decent album, almost good, and I think I definitely want to listen to him in the future and check him out. And if he comes, out here to Seattle, I would love to see him perform because I think a lot of the tracks that I was talking about, like that energy level, is going to be crazy to see him perform. I know his, I think it was his work visa got denied or something, so he had to cancel his U.S. tour, but he'll be coming, sometime this summer. But in the case of Konnichiwa, I would love to know your thoughts on the album. Let me know in the comment section below. Did you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Talk to me. Let's debate. Let's discuss. Whatever. And then like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Share the video. Follow me on Twitter at @SermonsDomain. And as always, thank you for your time. I appreciate you for watching. And until next time, peace.